What's going on, boys? It's Big O Dog Boxing. What's going on? Shit, bro. I just wanted to get on here, man, and chop a little bit, talk about this boxing and all that, man, and what's been going on, man. Shout out to everybody that's going to listen to this on the playback. So shout out to the playback gang. Uh, but yeah, man, happy Friday to everybody. Um, I just God, man, I wish I could put more time and more effort into my channel, man. But with life and with work and everything going on, I it's difficult to find time, man. But I appreciate to everybody that's subscribed. I appreciate to everybody that gives me a click, a like. It's really much appreciated. But about this boxing talk, man, let's get to it, man. To the meat and potatoes. Let's get to it, man. The boxing talk. A lot going on right now in the sport of boxing, man. A lot going on. And with all of this back and forth between the old guard and the new guard, the old guard being Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya, and the new guard obviously being Turki Al Sheikh and Dana White. Whichever way this ends up going, whichever way it whatever way the shit goes, right? Whoever gets the the last laugh, um, or whoever gets the dub, whoever gets the win, it really doesn't matter to me. As of right now, I've got my popcorn, I got my soda, and I'm just enjoying the hell out of all this shit going on, man. This is high quality entertainment right now. I got to tell you guys, without all this back and forth going on right now, there low key, man, boxing would be kind of dry. You know what I'm saying? Without all this back and forth going on between Dana White, Turki Al Sheikh versus Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, boxing would be a bit stale right now, y'all. But because of all this noise that Zuffa boxing is making right now, and as a content creator, this is great stuff. This is good stuff, man. It's great. The biggest news I think has been, the biggest news that's been headlining for the past couple of days, right? So about a week has been Connor Benn, right? Connor Benn, and yesterday was announced that Connor Benn will be fighting Regis Prograis. And I hear a lot of people complaining about the competition, right? That Connor Benn is set to face. I hear a lot of people complaining about this fight, saying, things like, well, who asked for this fight? But boxing fans, you know what I'm saying? They'll complain about just about anything, man, these fucking guys. But my stance is different, right? My stance is like, yo, it's on Netflix. It doesn't cost me any additional cost than my original Netflix subscription. So I'm chilling, man. I'm content. I'm happy, man. Boxing fans, bro, they'll complain about anything. You know what I'm saying? But now Frank Warren is filing a $1 million lawsuit against Sella and the TKO group, and for alleged breach of contracts. Frank Warren is feeling like a used up bitter whore because he was over there holding Turki Al Sheikh's hand and now Turki is poaching one of Frank Warren's flagship fighters in Tyson Fury, and old Fish Eyes is feeling a little left out. And that's really what it is at the end of the day. Frank Warren really just wants his cut from Turki Al Sheikh for using Tyson Fury. But as a fan, I say fuck Frank Warren. Because of Turki Al Sheikh, We're getting Tyson Fury versus Arslanbek Makhmudov on Netflix for no extra charge. You know what I'm saying? If I were Frank Warren, or I'm sorry, if it was Frank Warren putting that fight on, it would obviously it would be on pay-per-view, you know? Just like he did the Atama versus Dillian White. So yeah, I say fuck Frank Warren, but Turkey Island Sheik poaching fighters like Tyson Fury and Conor Benn from the promoters, he's basically just showing that he's brutally showing these guys that hey, you're just middlemen. But let's talk about that for a minute, man. Think about all right, for anybody that thinks that Turkey Al Sheik is the bad guy in this situation. All right. For anybody that thinks that, look at it this way. Thanks to Turkey Al Sheik, we're getting Tyson Fury versus Arslanbek Makhmudov on Netflix for no additional charge. Okay. Now, had this fight not been on Netflix, had Turkey Al Sheik not picked up this fight, right? Had you left it up for Eduardo Mendez says, "Show your face." Oh shit, bro. I don't know how, Brody. Um, I'd have to reset. I'd have to jump out and jump back in. But you're pretty much looking at my face, bro. Like you see that guy in the picture. That's exactly what I look like. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, back to what I was saying. If Turkey Al Sheik didn't pick this fight up, and it was Frank Warren putting on this fight, bro, we'd have to pay pay-per-view. We'd have to pay pay-per-view, bro. And thanks to Turkey Al Sheik, we get to see this fight for no extra charge. If it was Frank Warren putting on this fight, man, if it was Frank Warren putting on, it'd be a pay-per-view. And it would cost us more, just like he did Moses Atama versus Dillian White. So yeah, man, I say fuck Frank Warren. But Turkey Al Sheik poaching fighters like Tyson Fury and Conor Benn from their promoters, he's basically just showing them that hey, you're just a bunch of middlemen. You know what I'm saying? But the war has just begun. And it's not as easy as people think it will be. You know, I hear some people saying that, oh, this war is over. Nah, bro, this war is far from over. You know what I'm saying? This war is far from over. This war has just begun. And it won't be as easy as people think it will be because everything that Turkey and Dana White are doing right now, it's been done before. You know what I'm saying? This strategy of just throwing money at a new promotional company, it isn't an exact fix. Just look, I mean, just look at the paper, just look at a PBC, you know, in the past. The PBC, they were doing the same thing. And so was the zone when they first got to when Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, when they first got to the United States, they were doing the same thing. Same thing with Al Heyman and PBC when they first got into boxing. Boom, just throw a bunch of money. Let's just throw a bunch of money at them, and it'll be, you know what I mean? And we'll get all the best fighters, and it'll be what it be, and it is what it is. But nah, bruh. I mean, because look at PBC where they're at now. Al Heyman and the PBC, where are they at now? 10 years later. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm saying? You have to think, you know, It is. Look, I'm gonna tell you this, man. Turkey and Zuffa, they have what they have going for them is they have a lot of money, you know. But that's not all you need. And what the other promoters do have, like Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, what they do have going for them is what what they have working for their advantage is Frank Warren, right? Matchroom, Queensberry. What they know how to do, they know how to build fighters. They have the wherewithal, and they know how to build fighters. They know how to build star fighters from the ground up. And sure, Dana White, he helped build up Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, but that was in the MMA. You know what I'm saying? Uh that the MMA and boxing, that's a whole another it's a whole different type of war games in boxing. Boxing is very fragmented versus the UFC, who was, it was monopolized. But Turkey, without a doubt, has positioned himself as a competitor. Now he's a competitor. Before he was buddy buddy with all these guys, but now obviously he's a competitor. He's made it evident. He's made it very evident that Turkey is a competitor and he is at war with the zone and the boys over there at the zone. And what I'm not understanding is if Turkey owns, because Turkey owns a percentage of the zone. You know what I'm saying? Turkey owns a percentage of the zone. So what I don't understand is why, if Turkey owns a percentage of the zone, why is Turkey in direct competition with the zone? It's almost like Turkey is just doing all of this for shits and giggles. You know what I'm saying? I don't comprehend it, bro. Like I don't understand I don't understand the like if you're gonna invest in a company, why go against it? I don't understand that. Um yeah, man, I don't get it. I don't understand. It's almost like Turkey's just doing this for shits and giggles. It's almost like Turkey's bored. It's like Turkey's just a big ass kid, and he's playing with his action figures. He's playing, and his action figures are Dana White, Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, and they're all these little action figures. He's just playing toy soldiers with these guys, man. That's what it seems like to me. But yeah, man, move to this move from Dana White to sign Connor Benn to Zuffa. I'm telling y'all, man, this was a declaration of war. Because not only was Connor Benn one of A. Hearn's flagship fighters and his biggest stars, but $15 million to sign Connor Benn to a one fight deal is an excessive amount of money, bruh. For a limited fighter like Connor Benn, it's an excessive amount of money, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. It's a lot of money, man. I don't know, man. It's something about it, bro. Like I don't think it's gonna be a wild deal. I think it's gonna be more than that. Um, but There's another video, guys, I wanted to show you. Let me see here. See if I could find it. See if I could find it real quick. I just, it was. Here we go.
To tell.
And I want to know Bill Haney's opinion. Do you believe he belongs at number 3 for what he did?
No, I believe that Devin is number 1.
He can't be number 1. And Nue is a 2-time undisputed, currently active fighting champion.
Hold on. By the time you do it, and you do it without the machine's help, when you do it in the glory divisions, when you do it for the legacy that we've done, the guys that you're talking about anyway has been carefully matched. He's not out here in the streets like us. He hasn't crossed platforms, networks. He hasn't did any of that thing. He's been old-fashioned, home cooking. He has home court advantage every time that he's fought. Has anyway ever fought where he was the underdog, where they thought that he was going to lose?
No, but that's because he's a fucking knockout puncher with skill.
What weight does he knock him out in?
In the last 4 weight classes he's been in. You obviously don't like that Shakur's at number 3. You think that that's not a legitimate ranking?
That's the opinion of Dougie Fisher and Sean Zattel.
And I want to know Bill Haney's opinion. Do you believe he belongs at number 3 for what he did?
No, I believe that Devin is number 1.
He can't be number 1. And Nue is a 2-time undisputed, currently active fighting champion.
Hold on. By the time you do it, and you do it without the machine's help, when you do it in the glory divisions, when you do it for the legacy that we've done, the guys that you're talking about anyway has been carefully matched. He's not out here in the streets like us. He hasn't crossed platforms, networks. He hasn't did any of that thing. He's been old-fashioned, home cooking. He has home court advantage every time that he's fought. Has anyway ever fought where he was the underdog, where they thought that he was going to lose?
No, but that's because he's a fucking knockout puncher with skill.
What weight does he knock him out in?
In the last 4 weight classes he's been in. You obviously don't like that Shakur's at number 3. You think that that's not a legitimate ranking?
That's the opinion of Dougie Fisher and Sean Zattel.
And I want to know Bill Haney's opinion. Do you believe he belongs at number 3 for what he did?
No, I believe that Devin is number 1.
He can't be number 1. And Nue is a 2-time undisputed, currently active fighting champion.
Hold on. By the time you do it, and you do it without the machine's help, when you do it in the glory divisions, when you do it for the legacy that we've done, the guys that you're talking about anyway has been carefully matched. He's not out here in the streets like us. He hasn't crossed platforms, networks. He hasn't did any of that thing. He's been old-fashioned, home cooking. He has home court advantage every time that he's fought. Has anyway ever fought where he was the underdog, where they thought that he was going to lose?
No, but that's because he's a fucking knockout puncher with skill.
What weight does he knock him out in?
In the last 4 weight classes he's been in. You obviously don't.
So, yeah, that's just crazy to me, man. The fact that you would say something crazy like this. Wow. You know what I mean? I think at this point, Bill Haney is just saying anything. He's just saying shit just to say shit, man. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. You know, at this point, the Haneys have become so irrelevant. You know what I mean? Nobody wants, you know what I mean? But anyways, man, back to what I was saying about the Turkey Al-Sheikh, right? Because I mean, signing Conor Benn to $15 million, dude, for one fight, that's a lot of money, bro. And you know what I mean? This obviously means war, bro. This means war between the old guard and the new guard. But this also means that Zuffa Boxing not only has intentions of putting on shows in the United States, but it also has intentions of expanding overseas to the UK, because that's where Conor Benn is a superstar at. And now Zuffa has the perfect fighter to help him expand in the European market. This signing is a huge gain for Dana White and Zuffa Boxing, especially in the UK. And it's a devastating loss, man, for Eddie Hearn. Um, and yeah, it's crazy, man. Now it's a lot going on, bro. Like it's a lot happening right now in the sport of boxing. It's fucking heating up, dude. But in a cutthroat sport like boxing, everybody is always looking to one up somebody else, you know, and simply everybody is just out trying to get over on one another. But where Conor Benn did do wrong was he didn't tell Eddie Hearn. Like he didn't give him a heads up. He didn't give him a phone call. That's where Conor Benn went wrong, especially after everything Eddie Hearn has done for that motherfucker, man. When Conor Benn was out on suspension, he popped hot for the Egg Benedict. And he couldn't fight, because he was on suspension, so he couldn't make any money. Eddie Hearn loaned Conor Benn hundreds of thousands of dollars, bro. But that just goes to show you what type of man that Conor Benn is. He's a coward. He has no balls. And at the same time, man, Eddie Hearn just got a reality check, and a reminder that this is boxing and there's no loyalty in this business. But now I want to pivot to all of the Zuffa boxing detractors, all the guys that were saying that Zuffa is going to pay slave wages and all this stuff. I want to ask you guys a question real quick. Does $15 million for a one fight deal, does that sound like slave wages to you? If you ask me, $15 million for Conor Benn to fight a Regis Prograis, that's a lot of fucking money. That's way too much money. I mean, Conor Benn has never even been a champion. He's never been a world-class fighter. He's never won a world championship. Zuffa Boxing is grossly overpaying this guy. And it took Conor Benn 2 fights to defeat another C-class fighter in Chris Eubank Jr. So I don't know why Turkey would pay $15 million for Conor Benn, unless he's doing it as like a big fuck you. You know what I'm saying, to Eddie Hearn. I think that Conor Benn is being used as a pawn piece or maybe like an advertisement. You know what I mean? Like, come over here with us at Zuffa Boxing so you could get the big bucks, maybe Turkey has plans to sign Ryan Garcia, after this fight with Regis Prograis. Maybe the fight versus Ryan Garcia is their intentions, but everything is possible, man. Everything is possible when you have a unlimited amount of money like Turkey al-Sheikh. But back to Eddie Hearn being betrayed, right? That whole situation. Yeah, it's unfortunate that Conor Benn got betrayed, but that Conor Benn betrayed Eddie. But Eddie Hearn is the one that said that he was looking forward to competing, man. Eddie Hearn was the one that said, "Oh yeah, man, I'm with it, man. I'm with all this shit, bro. I want to compete with Zuffa and all these guys, So don't be scared now, Eddie. The war is on." And going forward, Eddie Hearn, he must move with the chip on his shoulder. So, this way he makes sure that this doesn't happen again. But as of right now, if I was Eddie Hearn, I would just kind of sit back and play possum, because right now, Dana White, Turkey al-Sheikh, they're just starting out, right? And so they're spending all kinds of money. Just like Eddie Hearn did when he first got his start here in the United States with Dazn. They were spending a lot of money on a lot of fighters. In Turkey, Turkey's like a kid in a candy store right now. He's like, I want this guy, I want that guy. But they don't necessarily know what they're doing just yet. I don't think that Dana White and Turkey Al-Sheikh know how to match up, all these guys just yet. Once all of the aimless, reckless spending ends and Zuffa kind of dies down a little bit, then that's when Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, they could start retaliating and they could start signing fighters. They could start poaching some of Zuffa's fighters and begin to put on great shows. But Hearn needs to start scouting. All of the fighters that are sitting on the shelf over there at PBC and Top Rank, Eddie Hearn needs to start signing those fighters before Turkey and Zuffa do. Remember, guys, the early bird gets the worm. But yeah, man. With that being said, though, boys, I got to get back to work, man. If you stop by and listen, man, I appreciate you. If you're listening to this on the playback, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate you guys. It's been your boy Old Dog Boxing. I'm out, man.